Hello, my name is Tammy Reese with Heart of Hollywood Magazine. Congratulations, Mimi. Congratulations, Anjana. Oh my gosh, I love both of your roles in the whole series from beginning to end.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
you're very welcome. The series touched on a range of topics: mental health, being an orphan, being a widow, love, the list goes on. What other topics will draw audiences in? I'll start with you, Mimi.
There's so much going on within the story. I feel that it's hard to sort of put my finger on one, but for my character, it probably is, finding who you are by yourself and
Mm.
not thinking that you need to rely on outside influence or another person sort of to get to where you want to be or to be happy or to be safe, because I feel that my character's story is just that she's always felt like there's no stability, there's no safety. She sort of feels very on her own, and I feel that's why she runs at these opportunities that, to her seem like what she should be going for. The rich husband, and he's famous, and she's going to have this and have that, and she won't live that life anymore. But I mean, it doesn't really work out very well in the end. So I think sort of for me, that was the main thing that I'm playing my character, so I'm in that zone every day. But for me, it's that, it's like that.
I feel like we're actually
Similar.
in terms of the vulnerabilities of Mary and Kay, even though on the outside we could not be more different. Both characters in search of a sense of belonging, and there's a loneliness that they're trying to fulfill what that void is. And I find all the women in the story fascinating. It was a very specific period, a very specific time, and I think there were very few options for women. So their relationship with men and their relationship with each other, it's just very fascinating to explore that time period, but also how Agatha makes it all feel very modern at the same time. That was the thing, that the surprising thing about doing a period piece is you do all the homework about what that time period is and what it was like for women then, and the costume and all of that, and the accent, and then you arrive and you do these scenes and they feel so fresh and so modern. And as you say, it's about very common themes like loneliness and mental health. And that is what I find just endlessly fascinating about these period pieces, that they're actually so much more about just life now
Yeah,
as
like
it is
all of
about
those
them.
things are still happening. It's just a
Totally.
different time.
I love that you touched on that because this is a time where women's supposed to be passive and not be outspoken, but both of your characters had a confidence to themselves. Very, very well done. What should audiences brace themselves for without giving too much away ahead of the premiere?
I think that it's a classic Agatha Christie whodunit, but it's also very much a who is going to do it. I think it's a very psychological piece. I think in this book and in this adaptation, Agatha and our writer Rachel really sort of teases the audience about what's to come. So the expectation is a bit upended about what we might expect from a traditional Agatha Christie adaptation. It's the clues in the title. I think the Towards Zero is not just, it's about the kind of motivation and psychology before you even find the first clue to the crime. So it kind of goes a bit more deeper, I think. It's a bit grittier. It's also a bit sexier, which maybe some people might be surprised by.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's all of that to look forward to.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Anjana, what was it like working with Anjelica Huston
Oh my
so
gosh.
closely?
So like what a privilege for me, honestly. Like, I obviously, she's an icon, and I grew up watching her, and I think she's just one of the greats. And just to do a few scenes with her and get to know her a little bit, it's just been amazing. It's been a real like highlight of my career and of my life. I think she's just magic. And I we've been talking all afternoon with people about how effortless she is and how talented she is. We all know how talented she is, but I think what impressed me most was how she was as a person, just so natural and warm, and none of the trappings of what you might assume a big Hollywood star is. She's so down to earth and lovely. And I think she knows the effect that she has on people. I think she's probably used to people being a bit in awe of her, and her job seemed to be to make us feel at ease and make us feel comfortable so that we could do our job.
Definitely.
And yeah, we're very grateful to have spent some time with her.
Mimi, how was the chemistry like for you between Oliver character and yours, Kay and Neville? How would you feel that dynamic was in your opinion? Like I feel you both were absolutely magnificent, but from your perspective, what was that experience like for you working with Oliver?
You guys were hot. You guys were hot together.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, obviously,
Yeah.
we're really hot now. Ollie is such just so hilarious and brilliant every day. He always has energy, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I don't have energy every day. Sometimes I'm really tired, but Ollie just always brings the energy and the fun, and he's very just. He's a great person to be around when you need to keep the vibes
Makes
up
you laugh
and get through a day of, being in the sea or being out in the cold or like doing those harsh scenes. I mean, Ollie's we've had some very good scenes, but my favorite would be probably, if we're talking about him as a person, we had one in the sea where we had to go in and I was in a dress and it gets all wet and it's gross. And we've got to go quite far out and it's supposed to look really sexy and passionate. And I felt very not sexy and passionate because I was freezing cold and it was really gross. And luckily, Ollie picks me up very early on in the scene. So I'm out of the sea. And then I got to basically spend my entire scene out of the sea. And then kindly enough, he carried me back in all the way back to shore. That's the kind of person he is. So he's very generous. I think that's the nicest thing another actor has ever done for me. But like as a character, I think that both of those characters are just they're definitely both very sort of self-confident. I think that they're like, I am the best. Do you know what I mean? I feel like both of them are that's their similarity. Is that, and I feel like they're almost kind of a bit in competition with each other. They're both very tactile with each other, and that's kind of something that they use to communicate with each other and also to communicate with other people. Like I know that Kay, the more threatened she's feeling by Audrey, the more tactile she is with Neville. Do you know what I mean? Like in the scene. And so I mean it's an interesting dynamic, because usually I think when you have for me, when I've played with a love interest, usually the characters are quite different for me. That's the first time where kind of like they're fighting for the limelight with each other. It's very
you
weird.
both did absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.